Yeah, what's going on, everybody? This is Zakk Wylde, Black Label Society. We're all doing a hang, and you're listening to the Australian Rock Show.
Hey, Zakk, it's Dennis from the Australian Rock Show. How are you?
Dennis, what is shaking, my brother?
Let me say before we start, it's an honour to have you on the show today. Lots to talk about in a short space of time. First off, huge congratulations on the new album, number 11, if I'm not mistaken. I guess, many artists who've been at it for a long time are often out of musical ideas, but not Zakk Wylde. No fan will be disappointed with Doom Crew Incorporated, which is filled with loud, fresh-sounding, hard-driving, riff-heavy songs. You must be satisfied with the finished result.
Well, I mean, the reason why I never run out of ideas is as long as Lady Gaga and Justin Bieber continue making music, I just take their ideas, I spin the records backwards, get all the satanic messages, then play them, and then convert back to Catholicism and put these new albums out. But I mean, it's quite the production, but I do it all for the art. But I'm definitely pleased with the way the record came out.
Okay, well, I reckon any rock fan who also loves the twin guitar sound is going to dig this new album too. I read some press which states it really truly is a two-guitar album, more so than ever. Now, I know you're someone who was raised on the Allman Brothers, maybe also Thin Lizzy as well. Does working twin guitar harmony lines into songs in the studio come quite naturally for you?
Well, I mean, for us, it was just more of a, and obviously I love the Allmans and I love Thin Lizzy and Judas Priest and, all the bands with two guitars with the unison lines and everything like that. But I mean, or harmonies and everything like that. Well, you need two guys to actually do it. So, but no, it's just for us. It was more of an evolution. I mean, probably since Catacombs, I started putting harmonies on in certain spots and everything like that. Before the guitar solo or during a solo or whatever. But I mean, this album, without a doubt. I mean, it was more of an evolution. I mean, live, me and Dario would go out into the crowd doing Fire It Up, like an extended solo at the end of the song. And so kind of like as a continue, of us going back and forth and everything like that. So, and then doing some lines together, like the unison lines and everything like that. But so like when I actually set about writing the record, obviously you have to have the song first, and then it was just like, oh, it'd be cool. Like, for the solo, I'll do a harmony here and this and that, and then I'll have Dario play this line and I'll play the other line. And then we'll do a unison line here, and then, I'll do this solo, Dario, you play here, then I'll play, then you play. And what we did, we just ended up sending it over to Dario's studio, over at the Dark Chapel over there in Vegas, over to his house. And, I just talked to Dario on the phone. He got the track, and he was like, all right, cool. We just had the spots, all the openings. I said, have at it, do whatever you want. So, just shred on it, and here's the guitar line. I would just send him a video of me playing it on the phone while I'm talking to him. I'd go, here, this is what I'm playing right here. So, then he would know what harmony he's got to do. And then, like, within 10 minutes, he'd end up sending it back and knocked it out of the park. It was that quick.
Well, we kicked this show off with the recent single, the riff-heavy Set You Free, which I just love. The acoustic intro works really, really well. Guitar solos are amazing. Many fan comments I read online are already calling it the best song you've released, which, considering the rich back catalogue, is no small statement. What's the background to Set You Free?
Well, I think just pretty much like everything. I mean, with Black Label, I mean, it all starts with the riff. I mean, whether, when you listen to Mount Riffmore, which that would be, Cream, which is basically the first heavy metal band, Sunshine of Your Love, that riff. And then you have Mountain with Never in My Life and Mississippi Queen and stuff like that. And then you have Zeppelin, you have Sabbath, Deep Purple. So, I mean, that's basically Mount Riffmore, So out of those 5 iconic bands, I mean, the whole thing is, and the whole foundation and everything that they're built on is amazing riffs. And then, so, for me, it just, if you can't get inspired by those 5 bands, I mean, as far as, being inspired by writing riffs and everything like that, I mean, they wrote, that's the template right there of how to build a car,
Another track, Zakk, on the album, which could in fact be my favourite, is the beautiful Love Raindown. The piano accompaniment works really, really well. That's a reworking of the song which originally appeared on the Stronger Than Death record from 2000, right?
Yeah, I mean, I originally wrote the song in 91 when, my mother passed away. So the whole thing is I ended up writing that song when we were actually tracking No More Tears at A&M Studios. So I actually wrote that song on the piano, the same piano that we played, the middle bit that I wrote that, the little piano bit before the guitar solo. So, so that song had been sitting around. We were going to put it on the box set. And I was like, no, let's hold on to that and put it on the new album when we do the new record. But that's just extended it at the end with the long guitar solo and everything like that. But that song's been around since '91. My mother passed away. But I mean, that one, and then obviously Farewell Ballad. I think that thing was just sitting around since like 2006 or 2000, something like that. So I did it for Guitar Techniques magazine in the UK. They were like, hey, Zakk, can you just come up with something to solo over? And I wrote that chord progression, the B, D minor, the C to B flat to A major. I wrote, I just wanted to have something so I could solo over. And, because people for years have been hitting me up, especially with social media, whether it's Instagram or anything like that, and just, they're doing their version of it. And I was just like, when we started working on the record, I was just like, what we should do? We should actually just finish this thing. I mean, it's just like, it's like everyone's doing versions, but it doesn't have any lyrics and it's not a finished song. It's just like a little short instrumental. So, I mean, it's kind of fun to finally get around to finishing it, so yeah, but those two songs obviously have been sitting around for a while. So, I mean, it felt great to finally finish them and put them on a record.
The new album, states the press release, is both a tribute to the band's first to bleed, last to leave road crew, and a salute to the Legion whose support, stretching back to 1998, rivals that of the KISS Army. Zakk, bands make it rock, roadies make it roll. It's a great sentiment, from you to honour and recognise your hard-working crew and fans. Not many bands do that.
Well, I said to the guys in the band, I mean, the Doom Crew Incorporated actually said to me, I go, what's that? You couldn't think of anything else to name the record? Apparently you're running out of ideas.
No, I love it.
I was like, thanks, guys. I'd expect nothing less.
As an aside, I don't think anyone will ever describe the hard-working road crew in a song any better than maybe Lemmy, who, in fact, as you would know, roadied for Hendrix on the Motorhead song "We Are the Road Crew." Agreed?
Yeah, without a doubt, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I think, with every band, without the Doom Crew Incorporated, the machine doesn't run. It's just a fact.
Another highlight on the album, Zakk, it's the song we're going to close out with, is You Made Me Want to Live. Again, lyrically, there's some hard-hitting lines in there about lost love, crushed by loss, saddened by the news. The sun no longer shines upon this life that I once knew. What's the story with You Made Me Want to Live?
Well, no, I had seen, these were like a batch of comments someone was writing about, someone that they had lost. And right. I just going through all the comments and then like kind of piecing things together and wrote a song, because somebody wrote that line, someone was like, I can't believe a guy, like, you made me want to live. And I was like, man, that's a great name for a song. So, and, it was just, that's what inspired me to write that song, lyrically. So, I just sat in the truck and then I was just actually looking through all these comments people making about them. And, and then I just did, obviously put my interpretation on it. And then that was where the lyrics came from. Like the actual spark of it.
Great. Love it. Love it. Now, I know you've toured Australia a few times. If I've got my dates correct from memory, your first visit down under was with Ozzy back in February of 98. Do you have fond memories of that first Australian tour?
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember, with Mrs. O, she was just like, Ozzy hasn't been down there since when he was down there with Sabbath back in like the early 70s. I was like, that's insane. that it's been that long. And she was like, yeah, would you guys want to go do it? We were like, oh yeah, it'd be great. So we had the whole No More Tears lineup together. So it was a lot of fun. It was great seeing everybody. It was great playing with everyone again. So it was a lot of fun for sure.
Whilst on Australia, I guess that's a nice segue into Bob Daisley. Can I ask what kind of chemistry did you have with Bob when you wrote songs together? Miracle Man, for example.
Yeah, Bob was awesome. And I mean, it's just so, I mean, it's obvious, Bob and Ozzy, were just great, a great songwriting team. You know what I mean? Like when you listen to Blizzard and you listen to Diary and, Bark at the Moon. I mean, Ultimate Sin, Bob was part of that as well. So, I mean, it's just a great, great foil for Ozzy, great together. They're just really, really great. I mean, just the way they together, just like how Geezer wrote, and Sabbath and Tony and Ozzy and Bill, they were just great together. I'm just saying like, together, just like and made an amazing soup. So I mean, but Bob, I mean, I always had a great time hanging out with Bob, and us going to lunch and just like he was hilarious. I mean, we'd always have like hilarious conversations and stuff, and just being such a huge fan of Randy and the stuff they did on Blizzard and Diary, and I love Jake too. So I mean, just hearing any of these war stories with Bob, it's just like being a fan and you're hanging out and hearing these unbelievable, legendary stories. So I mean, it was I always had fun with Bob. So I mean, it was just, but yeah, Bob was great. I mean, his bass playing and his lyrics with Ozzy, they speak for themselves. Just great stuff.
Love it. Let me hit you with a few random ones, if I may, in the time we've got left. I guess Mama, I'm Coming Home, penned by yourself with Ozzy and Lemmy. Crazy to think it's 30 odd years back now, but did that song and those lyrics come naturally, and were you aware when it was coming together just how special it was going to be?
Well, I mean, I remember me and Ozzy originally did that on a piano in my apartment in North Hollywood, and I remember we did that there, and then I transposed it to guitar when we got in the studio and we were working on the record, and then and it sounded great, and then I was obviously trying to get in all my country licks, my Allman Brothers and Skinner and Marshall Tucker and, Blackfoot licks, my country licks in there. That's how the song started off with the down, like the pedal steel kind of thing. But, I remember when, all I remember is when we got done with it, we were like how happy we were with the way it came out, so, I mean, it just sounded great. And then, obviously Dwayne and John, then the mixes Michael Wagner did on it. Even when I hear it on the radio, either whether it's Mama or No More Tears or Hellraiser or any of this stuff, I'm just like, wow, the guys did a really amazing job, sound quality wise on the record, and I mean, everybody's performances and everything like that. But I mean, just, the overall, just the whole thing, the sound of it and everything like that. The guys knocked it out of the park for sure.
In 2001, you played Goad, the Steel Dragon guitarist in Rockstar, a movie which I think is one of the best rock films ever made. How do you look back on that experience, and was that fun to make?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Mark Wahlberg, Jennifer Aniston, I mean, everybody that was in the movie, Dominic West, and then Jason, I mean, all the guys that were in the movie, all super cool people. Steve Herrick, the guy who directed it, super cool. And, like everybody that was, I still have friends that are, that did the movie, that were just, when I run into them, we talk to each other, everybody's doing great. But I mean, it's just, it was a lot of fun, man, for sure. Cool. How could it not be? You know what I mean? You're around a bunch of really cool people and you're having a good time, man. So yeah, I mean, my memories of that are just nothing but a lot of fun.
Back in 1997, you did a couple of guest appearances by some Japanese artists, which I'm hoping you can give me further info on. Nobuteru Madia, who was in the very successful outfit Tube, and you also played on an instrumental track by the artist called Tokma.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was my manager at the time had known their managers or they were friends with each other or something like that. And it was just like, would Zakk mind, jamming on the record or something like that? I was like, yeah, no problem. So yeah, I mean, a lot of times when I get asked to do, like to guest on stuff, it's always a fun time anyways, I'm like, well, what is it you want me to do? And they're like, oh, Zakk, we just want you to, blaze a solo on this track or whatever. It's like, all right, well, just send it over and I'll knock it out. So yeah, it's always a good time, man.
Love it. Hard to believe that in March it'll be 20 years since Randy Castillo passed away. Do you have one particular standout memory of Randy which you carry with you?
Well, no, I mean, I guess you would have to say the great thing, you know, the legacy, my thing of Randy is the way he lived his life. I mean, every night was Friday night. You know, I'm just saying there wasn't no room to be depressed, no room to be down, no room to be bummed out when we could be happy and having an amazing life. So, you know, like whenever I think of Randy, I just think like he was just like, every night was Friday night. And I was just like, no, we're going to have a good time, man. You know, so I mean, which is an awesome way to live life, for sure. Really is the truth, man.
Ozzy's upcoming new studio album is A Guitar Lover's Dream, featuring yourself, Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Tony Iommi. As a kid, listening to those guys, I mean, that must have been very surreal to be playing with those guys who are, you know, icons and heroes of yours, right?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. I mean, if you would have told me when I was 15 years old that I would be playing on a record with Ozzy, Tony Iommi, Jeff Beck, and Eric Clapton, I would have been like, yeah, okay. I was like, and I guess we'll be going for pizza with them as well. You know, I mean, I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever, man. But, yeah, it was definitely pretty surreal. So, I mean, it's an honor. I mean, obviously, they're like all my heroes, you know, Ozzy, everybody, all the guys. So, definitely humbling, honoring moment for sure.
I know you have a great love of Gary Rossington. Makes me want to ask if and you're familiar with the couple of Rossington Collins records from the early 80s. I guess most fans may be familiar with the single Don't Misunderstand Me from Anytime, Anyplace, Anywhere. But that second album from 81 titled This Is the Way is also fantastic.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I mean, without a doubt, I mean, you know, great songs and everything like that. So, and once again, Gary's a super cool guy as well. So, you know, I mean, Ed King, God bless his soul. I mean, you know, Ed, you know, because we did some Pride and Glory shows opening for Skinner, and I mean that was definitely an honor. But you know, meeting all the guys and talking with them, and then you know, so that was pretty amazing as well, for sure.
Let me ask you about. I see you have a run of European dates set for June and July, which includes a slot at the Download Festival in the UK. Can I ask what else do you have planned for the next 12 months? And is a return tour of Australia a possibility?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, well, obviously we have the Doom Crew Inc. record out, so obviously I you know, I mean, it's up to us. We're going to be touring for the next 2 years. You know what I mean? That's the game plan. You make the record and you just, you know, grind it into the ground.
Love it.
So, I mean, that's what we usually do. So, I mean, you know, we just did like 44 shows in 50 some odd days. So it was basically 4 on, 1 off, 4 on, 1 off, just blazing through it. So, I mean, hopefully, you know, right now we're looking to go over to Europe, and then after Europe, come back to the States, and then obviously, hopefully go to Australia, New Zealand, then over to Asia. You know, so I mean, that's just a complete whole world tour. So, like we usually do. I mean, it's just because we love playing. So, you know, the COVID thing, when we just did this run, there was no incidents. I mean, it was great. So hopefully it'll be more of that.
Zakk, we should finish up. The name of the new album is Doom Crew Incorporated. It's pure riff-heavy rock and roll at its very best, which many of our listeners are going to dig. BlackLabelSociety.net is the place people need to visit to get a hold of the record. Mate, before you get out of here, every guest on our show gets to choose a song by an Australian band. What would you like to choose and why?
What, an Australian band?
Yes.
Let me see. Let's go with Olivia Newton-John.
Love it. What would you like to choose?
Yeah.
You want Xanadu?
Yeah, she was the crush for me when I was a little guy, and then I'm 54 years old. She's still smoking hot.
Why don't we do Xanadu? How's that?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Lovely.
Sounds good.
Many, many thanks, my friend, and you take care. Good luck for the remainder of the year, and please stay safe.
You got it, my brother. Right back at you, and hopefully we'll be rolling with you guys before you know it, man.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right, brother. Great talking to you, buddy. Bye, bro.